Script analysis. Here's the thing about the script. Read it. That might sound fundamental, but it's not always the case. The temptation is to get the script and just highlight your lines. That, by the way, is another good tip, to highlight your character's lines with a highlighter. I always tell my kids when making decisions in life, make an informed, educated decision. Learn everything you can about the circumstance. The same is true when you are preparing for an audition, table read, or performance. Here's what can happen if you don't. After being cast in a film, I went to a table read when I had only highlighted my dialogue but had not read the entire script. In front of the rest of the cast members, I asked the director a question about the characters. The director sort of laughed and shook his head, like, "Are you serious?" No. It was clear that I had not read the script in its entirety. As if I had, there was no way that I would have asked that question. That's one reason that you want to read the script in its entirety, but there are others. Reading the script will give you cues as to what your character's motivation is, what they want, and how they're trying to get it. You will also learn the character's characteristics and personality, although you can glean some of that info from the character breakdown. You need to make educated decisions about the character that you are portraying. Let's say, for example, you are portraying a teacher whose student, Jamie, has not turned in his or her homework. Your line is simply, "Jamie, where's your homework?" Now, how do you say that line? If you're a savior teacher and Jamie is a smart student who is dealing with domestic issues at home, but on the verge of failing your class, you might say, "Jamie, where's your homework?" You might even add improv lines like, "I know you're dealing with some issues at home, but you're in danger of failing my class. Is there anything I can do to help?" But if Jamie, on the other hand, is an obnoxious pain in the rear, you would probably use a different tone and say something like, "Jamie, where's your homework this time?" Where is the scene taking place? Is it outside, on the playground, or in the classroom? You may choose to deliver the line softly, loudly, with laughter, sadness, hesitation, or trepidation. And what does bad student mean? Is the student a slacker or someone who is struggling to understand the material? What is Jamie saying about the teacher to the other characters? Look for cues in the dialogue and the actions as well. Those type of things can only be determined by reading the script or asking the director. And most of the time, the director doesn't have time to explain things to you. Now, that said, sometimes that's all you'll get are the sides. The sides are an excerpt of the script that has the parts that the director wants you to memorize for your audition. If that's the case, here are some things you can do. If you know the director, you can send him or her a quick email asking a few questions, like what is your character's motivation? What does he or she want? You can also ask your agent if you can have a copy of the script, as they probably have one. Or, at the very least, you can ask if you can come in and read it. If the audition is for an episodic project, watch previous episodes and do some research online. Now, when you've done your research, you can make a decision on how you want to play the character. In the industry, that is what's called making a choice. Cristobal Cruzin, writer, director, producer of Sabina K. and Let Me Have My Son.
My audience might not know that you are like this incredible and phenomenal actor. I didn't know that.
What are
And
you talking about? I don't know. I don't understand.
that's funny. But and having said that, can you talk to me about making a choice and what's the best way for an actor to prepare and get their best performance?
Mm.
Because, I recently auditioned for something and I don't know why, but the character was smoking a cigarette. It just
Mm.
came out that way. And it wasn't like in the script. So it's about
Oh.
making a choice, especially in an audition.
So you're saying you as an actor, as you prepared for the role, you came up with the idea that you would smoke a cigarette as part of the audition? Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, that's true. Based on what I knew about the character, yes. And
Right.
I made that choice. That wasn't in the script, but
I
I
see.
got the part, so, but I
Yeah,
just
I
wanted you to
think I
speak
think
to that.
yeah. I think you need to trust your intuitions, and your choices and run with that. Um, there's a great quote that I just love this quote from the French. He's passed on now, but French director Robert Bresson, who said that um, your intuitions. He said, trust what your heart is telling you, or your intuition is telling you 100 times more than what your head is telling
Mm, mhm.
you. And Frank Capra, another great director, said that, I can't quote him quite as well, but the point was that, again, trust your intuition. Your intuition is trying to tell you something. And, obviously that doesn't apply just to acting, that applies to life, right? I mean, we all
Mhm.
have feelings, right? This sort of a sixth sense, and something's not quite right here or there or whatever.
Right,
Everybody
right.
can relate to that, right? Well, the
Mhm.
same is true of acting. As prepare for this role and you soak up everything you possibly can as you study. Um, Listen to your heart. Yeah, and don't just listen to the head, but listen to the heart.